My name's Daniel Edson. I was born and raised in Marietta, about 10 minutes from here. We went to church on Sunday. Wednesday night, we went to church. I was active in the youth group growing up, and I believed in God. But I believed that God had a personal vendetta against me. You know, my entire life, I had lived in defiance of God's direction and God's will for me. And I spent a lot of my life spitting in his face and hating that I was even created. When I was 13, started drinking beer at friends' houses, and then we'd start getting into the liquor cabinets. Smoking pot about 15, 16, started experimenting with LSD and cocaine and snorting heroin. I was 17 years old, and me and some friends were in Atlanta looking for marijuana. We found crack rock, and we started smoking crack cocaine. I mean, for me, it was always, okay, well, you know, what's next to try? It's one thing if, you know, your friends say, man, you're way too high. But when your drug dealers say, we're not going to sell to you anymore, there's an issue. Everything that I did was building a bigger chasm between me and God. And, you know, I had friends that were active in the church that would hang around with me, and I would actively try and pull them away from the church. If God didn't love me, I wasn't going to let him love anybody else. But I still prayed. But my prayer was that God just let me go. I expected from the first time I got high, I expected to die a junkie's death. My mother made me carry around a card in my wallet with her number on it so that they knew who to call when they found my body. You know, I was living in abandoned houses, and I had a tent that I'd crash in sometimes, and sleeping underneath a 18-wheeler trailer. My entire life was the definition of insanity. The weekend that the hurricane was supposed to hit Atlanta, had literally been drinking since 7 o'clock in the morning. And I went and I passed out. And then I woke up handcuffed to a gurney in the hospital, and I was covered in blood. So I wound up in jail, and that was on the 9th of September. And on the 11th, I walked into my cell, and I hit my knees, and probably for the first time in my adult life, I genuinely prayed. And I just asked God to change me. I can't go on this way. I need you in my life. Just please come into my life and change me. My sisters had been trying to talk me into coming to church here at North Metro for a couple of years at this point. And I finally said, I'll go. Sitting here in the theater that day, God started talking to me again. Or more accurately, I started listening again. My heart breaks for what breaks God's heart. But I try not to be what breaks God's heart anymore. Now I want people to understand that, who I was, that's not who I am anymore. And it's all because of God. It's because of my relationship with Jesus. I've come to realize that, God's always been part of my life. Every time I wound up in jail, I was being removed from a situation. The times that I intentionally tried to kill myself, tried to OD, and never could. God knew every step, every misstep I would take, and knew where He needed me to be. And on September 11th, 2017, it was in that jail cell with blood-stained hands and on my knees. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for God's grace.